Hi, this is Adam from Wardtone Records at 835 Lafayette Road in Hampton, New Hampshire. We recently started asking our customers if they could leave a quick Google review, as I realized we really didn't have any. I think we had one. So we had a few reviews in the last few days, which has been fantastic and greatly appreciated. And there was one in particular that caught my attention from someone by the name of Arthur M. And I thought I would read the review to you and then discuss some related topics today. So this review says the following. The last two record shops I went to had something in common. That is, they were essentially multiple vendors selling under one roof. I'm not sure if Wardtone is the name of the whole business here or one of the record sellers under the main roof, but regardless, I like this way of doing business. It gives you a better selection. It would be like going to a museum where there are three different curators who are selecting totally different styles of art. You walk in and there is the main section right up front. Great mixed selection with a lot of newer but still desirable stuff. Joy Division, No Doubt, MF Doom, Green Day, Sabrina Carpenter, etc. The next big section is upstairs and is mostly classic rock and jazz. Flipping through gives you a who's who of the rock world. Beatles, Stones, Zeppelin, Hendrix. And the jazz world. I picked up a Sun Ra and Miles Davis here. Plenty of Coltrane and Monk to go around, though. The last section is small and downstairs. Not a ton to look at, and I didn't find anything noteworthy down there. Drove an hour to visit this place and was pleasantly surprised. Arthur M., thanks so much for leaving that review. I really appreciate it, and it helps us quite a lot. So let me discuss this a little bit. So we are in a multi-vendor store, and I want to talk a little bit today about the benefits of that for customers and also for anyone out there who's thinking of starting a small business, because it's a fantastic way to go in my personal experience. So first of all, and just to clarify to Arthur and anyone else, so we have Wardtone Records. When you walk into Full Moon's Vintage Village, all of the records in the main lobby, mostly modern, are ours. And when you walk upstairs to the record room, you kind of have to walk in and then turn around, and it's behind you to the left, and you go up three stairs, and then you're in the room that I'm standing in now, which is our record room. And that is mostly vintage. It's where our classic rock, our blues, currently our R&B, funk, and soul are located, etc. So it's more of the classics, if you will, and more vintage records rather than sealed new records. Although every genre has a little bit of both new and used. Naturally, the older genres tend to have more used, and the newer genres like hip hop tend to have more new records. So those two are ours, and then the downstairs area that he referred to. Once you walk in here, you'll see our records. You'll see a lot of Bob's toys. Bob, the owner of Full Moon's Vintage Village, has a vintage toy store which encompasses several rooms. But in the back, there's an upstairs and downstairs of the barn. There's also 35 other vendors selling all kinds of things, selling apparel, selling pop culture items, selling antiques, selling a little bit of vintage furniture, different things. And now there's even over here, beyond the record room in the farmhouse, there's even, in addition to toys, a few other vendors there as well. And a few of those vendors have some additional records, but mostly it's other things. So the vast majority of the records do come from us, are curated by Wardtone Records, essentially curated by me. And we take a lot of pride in cleaning those records, in grading them, and pricing them fairly, and in having a really interesting selection of different things that are well organized, where it's easy to find what you're looking for. And we also welcome people to use our in-house listening station to test any non-sealed records that they're interested in possibly purchasing. So we are within this larger store. The Full Moon's Vintage Village is probably about 5,500 square feet. We are maybe a tenth of that. Bob's store is maybe a little more of that for the toys, and then the rest is all other vendors. We are Bob's Toy Store, Full Moon Toys, and Wardtone Records are the two largest vendors, however, in the store. So what are the benefits of this, and why didn't I just open up a standalone store? Well, there are a lot of benefits, and I think our friend Arthur, who left the review here, saw some of that, and it reminded me that I've been looking to make this video for a while. So the first benefit that I would say of the arrangement we have here is extended hours. If you're interested in crate digging when a lot of other record stores are closed, we have extended hours beyond most record stores. So our store is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day but Tuesday. Oftentimes, by chance, you can get in a little bit early, between say 9:30 and 10. Not always, but sometimes Bob's here and ready to open the doors. So that's a chance you can take. But between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day but Tuesday, we are open. Another benefit of this shared model is a wide variety of items. So if you are really into records and your significant other or your family members or your friends who you want to go shopping with are interested in other things, there's a lot more here aside from records. And I think just about anyone would be interested in poking around through the barn and seeing what 35 different vendors have curated. It's impressive, since we've only been open 4 months, how quickly all the vendors have come together and just how interesting the selection is and how frequently the selection turns over. I enjoy taking a walk through and bringing friends through, even people who are not into records at all. I look through everything regularly and find, frequently purchase from the other vendors, and I find that they change things up pretty much every week, just like I'm trying to do. I sometimes am able to drop records into the bins 4 or 5 times a week. I do it as much as I possibly can to keep things fresh for our regulars who I really appreciate coming by, frequently. Another huge benefit to both the business, myself, and the clients or customers is lower expenses equal lower prices. We all share the rent here. We all share the expense of having someone run the register effectively, and that really drives our costs down. And when my expenses are lower, I'm able to offer much better prices than I otherwise would if I was paying a large amount of rent and paying someone, a pretty significant amount to, sit at the register, even on days where we're really not busy. And that tends to lead to record stores being limited more and more, open more and more limited hours. So lower expenses equal lower prices, which is a huge benefit. Also, it gives me, because I don't have to be here constantly, it gives me more time to source things. I go to at least 20 record shows a year. I source things from all over the place, online and locally. We now have people bringing in collections, which I'm very grateful for, but I need a lot of time to go through this, to grade it, to price it, to clean it, to decide what's going out and when and where. And if I had to be here all the time at the register, I probably would not be able to turn things over as quickly and bring in as much interesting new stuff as I'm able to given this arrangement. And then the fifth, which is related to all the things I just said, is it really leads to a greater chance of long-term success for the business. Those who enjoy, what we're offering here, I would hope and assume, want us to stay in business for the long term. And a lot of new businesses, get caught up with high rent and they're doing pretty well, but, they're burning themselves out because they have to be there all the time. And the rent is so high that it's impossible to make money. Well, here in this arrangement, it's really different in that, the rent is low and there's someone manning the register. So I have the freedom to really go out and source the very best quality records and have time to clean them and grade them and price them, thoughtfully and thoroughly, et cetera, et cetera. If you are a new business just starting out, I would strongly encourage you to, first of all, not even start with a multi-vendor store in a permanent location, but to just start at some kind of a vendor event. I sold my first record a little over a year ago, and it was at a vendor fair at the Fox Run Mall where you could, for $50, rent a table for the day and have built-in audience, built-in foot traffic. And, that's how I started. I probably did about a dozen of those before Bob invited me into his store. He saw me in the hallway of the mall selling and said, hey, do you want to put some stuff into my store? And then it evolved from there. And when they decided to move from the mall down here to Hampton, I decided to go with them and expanded much further, since we've opened here 4 months ago. So those are just a few notes I wanted to say about the review we received and what I see as the myriad of benefits of being in a multi-vendor store. So once again, this is Adam from Wardtone Records. Please like and subscribe and share the videos if you like them, and thanks for watching.